that was fighting for gay rights, and people were killed.
Nobody was killed at Stonewall.
Nobody was killed.
Hey guys, so next month you're gonna be getting a 40-minute deep dive on a very popular queen. But in the meantime, as a little treat for you guys, here's a fun top 10 style video where in no particular order, I'll be going over 10 outfits from RuPaul's Drag Race that caused drama. If you enjoy this type of video, give it a quick like and comment below to help me out with the algorithm. Plus, stay tuned for a small channel update at the end of this video. But before we start, this video is brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform to help entrepreneurs and creators build a standout online presence. Squarespace has everything you need to succeed. They combine years of industry-leading design expertise with cutting-edge AI technology, making it easier than ever to create a stunning personalized website tailored to your unique vision. I've been blown away by how simple it is to build a site that fits your brand aesthetic to a T. Here's some of what they offer that could pique your interest. First is, as mentioned before, design intelligence that will help guide you step by step, meaning if you're not a designer, you can build something beautiful and professional in no time. Plus, you'll get custom curated content and visuals that match your brand aesthetic effortlessly. Then we have Squarespace Payments. If you're selling products, services, or content, this is a game changer. It's easy to set up and you can offer your customers flexible payment options like Apple Pay, Klarna, or Afterpay. Whether you want a sleek and modern look or something bold and creative, these tools make it so easy to customize every detail. Are you ready to bring your vision to life? Head to squarespace.com for a free trial and click the link in the description to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Now, let's begin. Number 1. GotMix AllStars 9 Chest Runway. When AllStars 9 Episode 3 aired in the early summer of 2024, we saw the runway category of A Tale of Two Titties, with the queens all showing looks that correlated with the prompt given. Except, GotMix shocked many people when she walked out in a look that showed the post-operation scars that are left behind when a trans man goes into gender-affirming surgery by removing their breast. She even carried a plastic bag that had amputated breasts. It was a pretty gag-worthy moment that ended up being extremely controversial pretty much as soon as the episode aired. For example, conservative media outlets began to talk about the look, condemning it for promoting gender-affirming care as something that should be normalized. Obviously, this came as no surprise given the political climate that we're in, but what caught my attention more was opinions stemming from fans within our community that were sort of agreeing that GotMix's look for this runway was in bad taste and made them uncomfortable. So they also didn't like it. Yet that was sort of the whole point of this look. Yet it's completely understandable why even those Drag Race fans that come from a genuine place would feel bothered by it. But let me explain to you why GotMix A Tale of Two Titties showcase is one of the most important statements we've ever gotten from the franchise. GotMix is the first trans man to ever compete on RuPaul's Drag Race, debuting her trajectory on season 13, which aired in early 2021. Since then, she continued to remain in the forefront of the fanbase's attention, so when she returned for AllStars 9, there was high expectations of what she delivered. Trans men are among the least represented groups in the LGBT community. While we've seen trans women slowly get more and more talked about in mainstream media, trans men are often the more marginalized group. What's more is that part of their gender-affirming care surgery is the removal of their breast, which helps them get closer to what their vision of who they are is. However, the adjustment is not all that easy. Listen, my older brother is a trans man, and he's post-op, meaning that he still has remnants of his scars on his chest. The sad part is that even though a lot of trans men are super proud of their bodies, there's a stigma against the scars, often leading to them not wanting to take their shirt off when they're at a beach, for example, out of fear of being looked at differently. When really, it was a personal decision that they made as an adult for their own mental health. Unfortunately, it seems that a lot of people still can't feel completely free even after they've undergone so much stress to even get to where they are today. That's why GotMix's statement this episode had so much meaning. It forced people to acknowledge it. If you felt uncomfortable, that's okay. It's because we never see a trans man's body properly represented in the media. So how could you not be taken off guard by it? But imagine how many trans men she inspired with this look to feel more confident in who they are. That's why while there was a lot of drama attached to this look, it jump-started a conversation that was important for us to have in our community, so we can properly defend our trans brothers in the future. Number 2. Manila's unused period dress from AllStars 4. This is a very infamous story that went pretty viral when shortly shortly after the AllStars 4 episode that had the runway category of padding for the gods, Manila's look wasn't necessarily something to write home about. The thing is though, it was actually her backup look because her original one that she wanted to wear, production didn't end up allowing. Now known as the period dress, Manila wanted to pay a campy tribute to the pads many women use when they are on their periods. It was actually a really creative thing to do that would have fit in really well with the scope of the franchise. I mean, I could even see RuPaul and Michelle Visage living for it. Unfortunately, production told Manila shortly before the runway that it wasn't in good taste for her to go out there wearing this. Some fans felt that it was wrong for production to not let Manila wear it, because it only further added stigma to the idea of a woman's period being gross. Regardless, it's one of the few unaired runway looks that to this day is still remembered even though it never got to be showcased on the main stage. Number 3. Joe Black's H&M look for the UK Season 2 girl group. If you don't watch the international franchises, Joe Black was the queen that went home first on UK Season 2. However, midway through the season, after a 7-month pause in filming due to the COVID lockdowns, all queens were brought back to film the first episode of the second half of the season, with the eliminated queens returning and ultimately Joe Black being voted in to get a second shot at competing. While most would have expected her to try twice as hard given that she was the first out in the competition, while doing her girl group performance, Ru couldn't help but notice that not only was their group a mess, but Joe Black's outfit was giving her flashbacks to the clearance racks at H&M stores. Ultimately climaxing when, in the middle of the judges' critiques, one of the judges made the comment that Joe's outfit looked like it was bought at a random store, to which Joe responds, H&M, followed by a giggle. But Ru just looked stone cold and ended up going off, saying that if you're gonna wear something as basic as H&M, then it better be stoned to the god. But to come out in something like that and not make it draggy is not something that she ever wants to see happen again. It ended up being a quote that to this day people will reference, but do you think she was right to be outraged by this? Number 4. Raj's Native American inspired outfit on season 3. Raja is a queen known for how fashion forward she was, even having found fame within the modeling industry by ending up as a reoccurring guest on America's Next Top Model, prior to ever competing on RuPaul's Drag Race. That being said, season 3 was filmed in the summer of 2010 and aired in early 2011. Raja wearing a Native American inspired outfit objectively looked really beautiful from the perspective of a viewer, and it was yet another addition to an overall amazing runway package from the earlier seasons. However, a couple years later, as the series started to grow in size, discussions started to arise on whether Raja's runway was cultural appropriation. Now, at the time that season 3 was filmed, most of Western society hadn't yet adopted a lot of the norms and considerations that we have now when it comes to microaggressions or respecting others' cultures in general. Raja actually gave a response to this in the year 2015, where she stood by her runway because it came from a place of love and admiration, given that she actually comes from a multicultural family and has traveled the world meeting different communities. Yet one thing's for sure is that to this day, this look is still talked about. Number 5. Simone's step down look for season 14. For a long time, the idea of a step down look was something that was super grand, expensive looking, with each queen trying to outdo the others by coming up with the next conceptual look. So when it came to Simone, the winner of season 13, that delivered so many good looks, being among the best runway packages of her season, when the time came for her to step out into the season 14 finale with this showcase, it brought forward a big division in the fanbase, with some people loving it while other people did not like it. While the look was a different type of glamour than we had gotten used to since Violet's step down look on season 8, there was a lot of layers attached to it. Simone had explained shortly after the airing of the finale the cultural influences that she took when coming up with it, making it tie in a lot to what she showed on season 13, having felt a need to represent her roots in a platform like Drag Race. What's more is that even though some felt that the look was basic, there was a high degree of craftsmanship done to it, resulting in a beautifully bedazzled outfit. Number 6. Milk's RuPaul look for season 6 episode 5. After being 5 weeks into the competition, Milk had been showcasing some really out of the box interpretations of the runway theme. It was in many ways our first true glimpse into one of the more unique type of queens with a perspective that wasn't necessarily understood by the general public. But when we got to episode 5 and the runway theme was Night of 1,000 RuPauls, it was clear that production expected contestants to pick one of Ru's drag drag looks, but Milk decided to be the workroom version of RuPaul that is out of drag, straight up walking the runway as a bald man with a suit on. You could tell that the judges were really caught off guard by this and weren't really living for it when it happened, especially since Milk ended up landing in the bottom 3 but ends up being saved from having to lip sync for her life. I always felt that it would have been cool to see the lip sync for this episode be Gia Gunn versus Milk, since both of them allegedly almost got into a physical fight from how much they disliked each other. Plus just the added bonus of being able to see a queen dressed in head to toe male drag lip sync for her life. Regardless, it ended up being a point of contention. Was Ru and the judges correct for disliking Milk for doing this? Or was Milk in the right for finding a really unique way of executing the runway theme of that week? Number 7. Georges' season 14 sewing / design outfit. This one sort of speaks for itself and is now a pretty iconic moment within the modern era of the series, given that Georges at the time wasn't really a seamstress. When she ended up being announced as the winner of this challenge, despite there being so many more impressive looks that many viewers thought should have gotten the win instead, it was in a way a clear foreshadowing of RuPaul's ever-growing obsession with Georges. Number 8. Jackie Cox wears a hijab on season 12. On episode 9, the runway theme was Stars and Stripes Forever. Jackie decided to pay homage to her Iranian / Muslim heritage in a look that turned the American flag into a stunning dress topped with a hijab. Jeff Goldblum though ended up asking whether within the religion of Islam there is anti-homosexuality or anti-women sentiments. Jackie would end up responding that her runway was an expression of the freedoms and liberties that citizens have living under the United States, and the idea of an American also being applied to those that come from other cultures too. While Jeff's comments came from a place of curiosity, it sparked a larger conversation within the viewers of the show regarding what it meant to showcase your culture on the main stage unapologetically. Number 9. Charity Case's runway package for UK season 3. When Charity Case was announced to be on Drag Race UK, there was a lot of hype since within the UK, she had built a pretty big name for herself in a very short amount of time, along with being the drag daughter of Rajs. Yet, starting from episode 1, the general opinion was that the 2 looks she showed in the runway should have been worthy of a win. Overall, the more looks she showed as the weeks went by only highlighted the level of quality and creativity when it came to her drag, but the judges never really clicked with her, or I guess understood her vision, resulting in Charity going home pretty early in the competition. In the months after filming, fans continued to remember these looks for just how different they were than what we usually see on the main stage, while at the same time maintaining a level of quality in its execution. The question is though, why wasn't anyone in the judges panel able to properly connect with her? Number 10. Lala Kent's bag look on season 13. Now listen, it would not make sense for me to make a list of Drag Race's most dramatic looks and not talk about the bag dress. What makes this contraption more impressive is knowing that Utica, who was given the same amount of time to make her outfit, came up with something that looked like it had taken weeks to make. Lala, on the other hand, almost seemed like she made hers within the last 30 minutes before stepping on the stage. Regardless, it jump-started a movement that pushes far beyond Lala's run through Drag Race, and is actually to this day one of the most recognizable looks from the modern era of the franchise. I mean, the fact that she didn't even bother to tear the bags apart to create some type of fabric look to the dress, or how a dog dressed up as her for Halloween. Sometimes this is the type of art that Sasha Velour was telling us about. Alright, so just for a quick channel update, as you know, I have a Patreon for my channel, where those who decide to support me can have their names displayed at the end of each of my videos. For the last couple of years, I've seen more people join, but there was no exclusive content that I was putting out because I did not want to overwhelm myself with more work. That being said, I've decided to do a little gift for those that support me on Patreon. And now that AllStars 10 is coming out, I'll be releasing small 5-minute recaps for each episode that airs with my genuine reactions and thoughts. These will be a Patreon exclusive and just a fun way of me trying out something new. And hey, if it goes well, I'll try to think of some more content for Patreon. So thank you for those who've already been supporting me and anyone that would like to join too. Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. If you want to help support the channel, make sure to click the link in the description to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain at Squarespace. I want to take a moment to thank my patrons. In the Elite Pink Squad, we have Matthew Burns, Sari Tish, Las Potitas, Gay Uncle, Natasha De Leon, Cool Gal Nan, and Jet Sam Adam. And in the green squad, we have Kamen Rider Furry or Diesel Placer depending on what time of day you catch him, Edgar Allan Pup, The Only Sean, IJS, Not a Punch, but a Keek, Jack Beck, Bashir with the good beard, Galeria Gomez, Sarah G, Boiled Peanut, Max Whale, Olivia Mar, Dea, Dea, and Scarlet Rose. If you'd like to see your name on the screen, honestly, join me on Patreon, because I think I'm gonna start setting goals in terms of things that I can import back into the channel from it. Anyways, thank you if you're still listening, and I'll see you guys next time.